Welcome back to our channel. Today, we re-diving into the story of a teenager who gets an unexpected superpower after a near-fatal accident. Let's get started. Our story begins in a dangerous neighborhood in London, a place where fear is a part of daily life. For years, a strange kind of gang rule has gripped the area. In one of the apartments, we find Tom, lost in a computer game. The disturbing noises from outside are a constant reminder of the chaos, so he puts on his headphones to block it all out. The next morning, while walking through an alley, Tom meets up with his friend, Danny. Danny hands him an MP3 player that Tom had asked for. At school, however, Tom's mind isn't on his studies. It's on Lacey. He's had a crush on her for a long time. After class, his day takes a surprising turn when Lacey herself walks up to him. She asks if he can help her with science, admitting she's struggling with chemistry. Seeing her so close, Tom is completely stunned and can't get a word out. Just then, a guy named Eugene shows up and starts making fun of Tom, mocking his inability to talk to a girl. Lacey, annoyed, tells Eugene to shut up. She then turns back to Tom and confirms their study plan. They lines meet at a friend S house named Charlie S. Tom agrees, his heart racing. He heads home, where he lives with his grandmother, Nasi. Back at their apartment, Nasi tries to share a piece of a novel she's writing, but Tom's mind is elsewhere, and he finds it hard to feign interest. After a short while, he excuses himself to go meet Lacey. When Tom arrives at Charlie's house, he walks into a nightmare. A man is lying unconscious on the floor. A moment later, a group of gangsters emerges from a room, holding a camera. They've been recording something horrible. Terrified, Tom turns to run, but one of the gang members pulls out a gun and shoots him. The gang flees, leaving chaos behind. 10 days later, Tom wakes up in a hospital. The doctor explains his incredible luck. When he was shot, his phone was in his hoodie pocket, close to his head. The bullet hit the phone first, shattering it. Fragments of the phone pierced his skull, but thankfully, the damage wasn't as severe as it could have been. The doctor tells him to report any strange symptoms. Tom's first thought is for Lacey. He anxiously asks if she's okay. Nasi reassures him that Lacey has already recovered and been discharged. On the taxi ride home, Tom feels the driver staring at him in the rearview mirror, making him uncomfortable. As his eyes fall on the running meter, a strange sensation washes over him, and he suddenly faints. He wakes up back in his own bed. The next morning, Nasi notices that his head injury is healing remarkably fast. She encourages him to go see Lacey. Tom buys a bouquet of flowers and heads to Lacey's house. Her brother, Ben, lets him in. Tom immediately apologizes, overwhelmed with guilt for running away when the gang attacked. But Lacey is understanding. She tells him anyone would have done the same thing. He couldn't have fought them all alone. Despite her words, Tom can't shake the feeling that he failed to protect her. As Tom leaves her house, something bizarre happens. He starts hearing everything. Not just the sounds of the street, but the hum of every electrical device, the quiet chatter of phone calls traveling through the air. The flood of information makes him feel sick. On his way home, his vision distorts. A strange digital interface appears overlaid on every electronic device he sees. The world becomes a jumble of data and signals. He gets dizzy and faints again. While unconscious, a clear image flashes in his mind, Eugene's cell phone. He sees it at the scene of the attack and realizes with a jolt that Eugene was one of the gangsters that night. He rushes to tell Danny, but his friend is skeptical and doesn't believe him. Back at school, Tom sees Eugene in the hallway. This time, it's different. As he looks at Eugene, he can literally read the messages on his phone, plain as day. The texts confirm his suspicions. Eugene is messaging someone about what happened to Lacey. A white-hot rage fills Tom. He now has powers, and he decides he's going to use them for revenge. Focusing his anger, he mentally overloads Eugene's phone, causing it to spark and die in his hand. That night, Tom goes to a party with Danny. He sits on a couch, But instead of socializing, he starts scanning. One by one, he taps into the phones of everyone around him. It's like an open book. He pieces together the events of that night, identifying every single person involved in the attack. The full truth makes him furious. He gets up and storms toward Eugene, ready for a fight. But before he can do anything, Danny jumps in and pulls him away, trying to calm him down. Later, Tom goes to see Lacey. While they're talking outside her house, they see Eugene and his crew walking onto the nearby basketball court. The sight of them makes Lacey visibly anxious and fearful. Seeing her reaction, Tom's resolve hardens. He vows he will never let them hurt her again. Using his newfound abilities, he sends an anonymous message to Eugene's phone. It reads, "I'm coming to teach you a lesson." The next morning, Tom begins his mission. He follows the gang, discovering they are on their way to meet an illegal dealer. As he tails them, he hacks into Eugene's phone, activating the microphone so he can listen in on their entire conversation. But he isn't just watching. After they leave their meeting, Tom starts to torment them. He messes with all the electrical devices in their hideout, flickering the lights, blasting music at full volume, creating a symphony of digital chaos to prey on their nerves. He also reaches out to Lacey again, sending another message from the same unknown number. It says, "I will protect you from the people who hurt you." Lacey replies, asking who he is and why he's helping, but he leaves her questions unanswered. His anonymity is his shield. The next day, all the students are gathered in the school auditorium for an announcement. This is Tom's chance to escalate his plan. Focusing his mind, he hacks into the school's projector system. Instead of the principal's presentation, a private, embarrassing video of Cash, one of the key gang members, flashes onto the giant screen. The auditorium erupts in laughter. Humiliated, Cash runs out of the room as fast as he can. Later, Tom feels he can't keep his secret any longer. He meets with Lacey and tells her everything about the accident, the phone fragments, and the strange powers they gave him. He confesses that he was the one behind the mysterious messages and the public humiliation of the gang. Lacey is stunned, trying to process it all. She wants to know who exactly did this to them. As Tom walks over to a radio to play some music, a sudden realization dawns on her. And just at that moment, the story leaves us hanging. What an intense ride. From a shy teenager to a digital avenger, Tom's journey is just getting started. What do you think A mysterious text from an unknown number buzzed on Tom's phone. "You did all this, didn't you?" Tom, now able to send messages with just his thoughts, replied to each one while fiddling with his radio. He asked Lacey why the gang had attacked her. She explained they wanted her brother to join them, and when he refused, they threatened his family. They ended up targeting Lacey instead. After her story, she asked, "At least tell me, who are you?" Tom simply replied, "You can call me iboy." A few nights later, Tom and Lacey were walking home when Eugene's gang cornered them. They mocked Lacey and demanded to know who was sending the anonymous messages. Eugene grabbed Tom, yelling, "It's you, right?" Instantly, a message popped up on their phones. "You're grabbing the wrong guy, kid." Confused and spooked, Eugene let go, giving Tom and Lacey the perfect chance to escape. Tom realized this harassment wouldn't stop without a real lesson. He knew Eugene's crew was planning a car theft. The moment they broke into a car, Tom remotely locked them inside. He turned on the radio, and using a disguised voice, threatened them. He demanded their leader's name. When they stayed silent, Tom revved the engine until smoke billowed from the hood. As flames appeared, one of them, Cash, cracked under the pressure. "The leader is Cuts. We're just school kids. Please let us go." Tom unlocked the doors, and the boys scrambled out just before the car exploded. But Tom was just getting started. He found Cuts' address and discovered his own friend, Danny, was part of the gang. While Cuts and his crew were watching TV, the screen suddenly showed a live feed of Cuts' car. Tom had broken in and peed all over the interior. Furious, Cuts and his men ran outside. As soon as they were gone, Tom snuck into the flat, destroyed all their electronics, and stole their hidden drug stash. Cuts returned to a trashed apartment and a missing stash, absolutely enraged. Meanwhile, Lacey told Tom she was feeling better and planned to return to school. She mentioned the new vigilante, iboy, who was becoming famous for targeting gangs. When Tom asked what she thought, she was dismissive. Iboy is just one guy. Small attacks won't change anything. To really fix this neighborhood, you'd have to do much more. Her words lit a fire in Tom. He decided to eliminate crime from the entire area. He planted the stolen drugs in the homes of known criminals and tipped off the police with exact addresses. He drained their bank accounts and posted videos online as iboy, striking fear into the heart of the city's gangs. Eugene and his crew were arrested during the raids, and the neighborhood started to feel safer. Tom's powers grew immensely. He could now shut down the lights in half the city with a single thought. His power surge was noticed. Cuts' boss, Elman, threatened him over a call for his lack of profit. Tom hacked the call, learning the top boss's name. Desperate to find iboy, Cuts ordered his gang to steal every phone and electronic device in the area. Soon, Londoners were cursing iboy online, blaming him for the widespread robberies. Even Tom's grandmother was robbed. Guilt-ridden, Tom decided to lay low. As soon as the gang thought iboy was gone, they resumed their criminal activities. This was the moment Tom was waiting for. He grew quiet and distant, worrying his friends. One night, Tom sent Lacey a final message. "Tonight, I'll end everything once and for all." Lacey pleaded with him not to go, warning him he'd get killed and that taking the law into his own hands was wrong. Tom understood, but he couldn't stop. He tracked Cuts' phone, but Cuts threw it in a trash bin, and the signal was lost. Just then, Tom heard a news helicopter covering a nearby accident. He hacked its camera and spotted Cuts' car. He jumped on his bike and followed it to a secret location full of shipping containers. Cuts was meeting his top men, discussing how to get rid of iboy. Tom moved through the shadows, found a guard, and after watching dozens of self-defense videos in his mind, knocked him out cold. He found a crate full of drugs and set it on fire. But before he could escape, Cuts and his men cornered him. As they beat him, Tom felt his life slipping away. In a desperate move, he unleashed a low-frequency sound from nearby electronics. The piercing noise made the gangsters collapse in agony. Cuts fired a shot but missed. Tom seized the chance and vanished into the night.
He was seriously hurt. On his way home, he crashed his bike into a lamppost and blacked out. The next morning, he woke up in a strange place, with no memory of how he got there. Meanwhile, back at his apartment, Lacey kept calling him over and over. They had a plan to walk to school together because she was still terrified to go alone. Tom had promised her he'd be there, but his phone just kept ringing. In the end, Lacey had to walk to school by herself, trembling the whole way. After their exams, Lacey finally found Tom, and she was furious. Tom tried to explain what happened, telling her he got into some trouble the night before and never made it home. But Lacey was too angry to listen. Before their argument could escalate, they noticed a crowd gathering, everyone staring at a nearby building. They turned to look and saw something horrifying. Cash's lifeless body was hanging from the building. Tom was completely shaken. Later, Tom was on a rooftop, talking to his friend Danny. "Who could have done this to Cash?" Tom asked, his voice filled with disbelief. Danny's reply was blunt and cut deep. "He's dead because of iboy," he said. "You started all of this." "Yeah, Cash was a gangster. But nobody's all bad. He just couldn't live with the humiliation." Hearing those words shattered Tom. He felt the weight of the entire situation crushing down on him. The community was now divided. Some people praised iboy as a hero, while others hated him for the chaos he'd brought. The pressure became too much for Tom to handle. He went to see a doctor and begged him to remove the phone fragments from his brain. The doctor explained that the surgery was incredibly risky. There was a high chance he wouldn't survive. Feeling completely defeated, Tom left the clinic. That night, there was a loud knock on his door. When he opened it, he was ambushed by Cutts and his men. Their boss, Elman, was with them. Tom's grandmother, Nossie, rushed out to protect him, but Cutts brutally struck her, knocking her unconscious. Elman's men dragged her back into her room. Then, Elman turned to Tom. "I know your iboy," he said calmly, "and there is only one way for you to stay alive. You may go into work for me. I'll change your life." Tom immediately refused. Elman didn't take no for an answer. One of his goons slammed Tom to the ground. "All right, fine," Elman said. "Do one thing for me. Track down Lissy." Reluctantly, Tom used his powers to find her. He discovered that she had been kidnapped by Eugene and his gang, the very same criminals Elman had used his influence to get released from jail. Tom knew that if he refused to cooperate, Lacey's life would be in grave danger. As if that wasn't enough, Elman delivered one final, crushing blow. "You know your friend Danny," he sneered, "the one you trust so much. He's the one who told me everything." Tom's world crumbled around him as the ultimate betrayal was revealed.